With new data saying the Bahamas is one of the 10 countries most vulnerable by climate change, victims of 2019's Hurricane Dorian may be impacted by a new bill. One Caribbean News' DeAndre Hamilton breaks down these efforts.
Mere days following his presentation on the action needed to diminish the merciless impact of climate change at the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting held in Suriname, Bahamas Prime Minister Philip Davis led his government in passing legislation which amends the law on when a loved one can be declared officially deceased. While this achievement is morbid, it is also monumental and ends years of frustration for Bahamian families impacted by the treacherous Hurricane Dorian of 2019.
The Bahamas is one of the 10 countries in the world most vulnerable to climate change.
The hurricane and its incredible force tore through the northern Bahama islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama. Too many were washed away by the surge waters, and families were tossed into a never-before-experienced turmoil made worse by antiquated laws. Minister for Grand Bahama Ginger Moxie spoke during the House of Assembly.
You will soon finally be legally listed as the guardian and caretaker of Jai, and be able to access insurance benefits and receive government relief.
At that meeting held in Suriname, the Prime Minister said there have been strides. He also priced the need.
The Caribbean as a region will need more than $50 billion per annum to finance adaptation efforts and disaster recovery. Over the last few years, many of our countries have not fared well. Small ocean economies gain in negotiating strength and influence when we work effectively as one. It is no exaggeration to say that if we do not stand together, each one of us, is in danger.
DeAndre Hamilton reporting.
Medical experts say that they are paying close attention to a new subvariant of the coronavirus. The BA.2.75 variant may be able to spread rapidly and get around immunity in previous infection, according to scientists. However, it is still unclear whether it can cause more serious disease than other Omicron variants. The new mutation was first identified in India, where it has spread to at least 2 states and 1 territory so far. Cases have also been detected in Japan, Germany, the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the US. Turning now, a year ago, Cuba faced the most widespread protests since the revolution. Now hundreds of people have been sent to prison for going out and demanding better living conditions on the island. Patrick Opperman explains why many are concerned that a new revolts are on the horizon.
When the largest anti-government protests here since the Cuban Revolution took place last July, thousands of people poured into the street. Demonstrators demanded food, medicine, and political changes in spontaneous marches across the island. Protests even took place in smaller cities like San Jose de las Lajas, where brothers Nadir and Jorge Perdomo, both teachers, addressed this crowd of people that residents say remain peaceful.
Mis hijos salieron porque, como todo cubano.
My sons went out because, like every Cuban, they were desperate over the situation. The 2 men's mother told us. They are fathers. Every day here, we have less. The government crackdown was swift and harsh. As police arrested hundreds of protesters, Nadir and Jorge made a last video where they said they were merely expressing the discontent that many Cubans feel. Days later, the 2 brothers were arrested. According to court records that CNN reviewed, neither man had a prior criminal record, and both were well regarded in their community. All the same, Jorge was sentenced to 8 years in prison and Nadir to 6 years after being convicted of charges including disorderly behavior and insulting public officials. Human rights groups say the Cuban government is trying to intimidate their own people from taking to the streets again.
And we found that constantly prosecutors were charging Cubans for exercising their basic rights, such as the right to protest peacefully, the right to insult the president or to insult police officers exercising their freedom of expression.
It remains to be seen, though, whether the mass trials will succeed in silencing dissent. A year after the protests took place and many of the economic problems that Cubans confront have only gotten worse. There are frequent blackouts that last for hours and seemingly endless lines for food and fuel. Although the Cuban government has succeeded in cracking down on the social unrest, many Cubans say it could explode again at any moment. So far, the government here says nearly 500 people have been convicted and sentenced for their roles in the protests, with some demonstrators receiving up to 25 years after being convicted of sedition. Officials say the protests were not the result of worsening living conditions on the island, but a campaign of sabotage carried out by Cuba's Cold War enemy, the United States government. But Marta Perdomo says no one had to encourage her sons to protest.
No, para nada. Mis hijos no fueron pagados.
My sons weren't paid. They didn't have to go out, but they felt the pain of Cuba, she says.
Pero ese día mis hijos fueron libres.
My sons were free that day, she says. Marta says that local officials have ordered her to take down a sign she put up on the front of her house in a rare act of defiance, calling for the release of her two sons. But the sign will stay up, Marta says, until her sons finally are able to come home. Patrick Ottman, CNN, San Jose de las Lajas.
Wow, and consumers worldwide are getting set for major online discounts. Amazon Prime Day sales event starts Tuesday at 3 a.m. Eastern and goes for 48 hours. Discounts will be offered on many items, including electronics, home goods, and toys. Amazon's annual event attempts to increase loyalty with its Prime subscribers and perhaps draw in new shoppers into its program. Last year's Prime Day sales event was the largest two-day sales period for third-party sellers in Amazon's history. Officials say Prime Day brings in around 1 to 2% of the company's yearly sales. Very cool. I'll have to check out those deals myself. And in Puerto Rico, fans of the urban singer Bad Bunny take the streets of San Juan for 3 days to get tickets for his upcoming shows. The tickets were sold out in just a couple hours. Our Francis Felix tells us more.
The Bad Bunny mania takes over the streets of Atorrey in San Juan, where thousands of fans of the singer arrive to the surroundings of the José Miguel Agrelot Coliseum with the hope of purchasing tickets for his performance. The urban singer has become an international star, an icon of the trap and reggaeton music, and also an influence in the youngest people. Bad Bunny's followers began lining up to buy tickets 3 days before the official date to sell them after the urban artist announced in an Instagram Live that tickets could only be purchased in person for the 3 performances that he will offer at the venue on July 28, 29, and 30. Maylene followed Bad Bunny music since his beginnings. She traveled from her hometown Guayama to try to get tickets for the concert, no matter how long she will have to wait.
I think I'm gonna right here from like 10 hours more, and I pray I got buy tickets, but it's not sure. I pray for this.
For Angelo, waiting in line has become a time to share and have fun with his friends.
We're all here to get tickets for the Bad Bunny concert. Personally, I've been here since last night, 12 a.m., approximately around there. We were here the whole night. Now we have to be here another night until tomorrow. I'm just here with my friends. We're all chilling here. We got a cool spot set up. We're gonna get some pizzas. We're all hungry, but we're gonna be good. We're all taking turns sleeping and just having a good time. Line is pretty packed. We're not sure if more people can come to the line because it's already, the count is way too much for people. It might be sold out already, to be honest.
After days of waiting, heat, and camping outside the Coliseum with coolers, chairs, and umbrellas, and singing songs of the most listened Latin artists, people achieved their goal and began to purchase general admission tickets for the performance. In an unprecedented event, the sale of tickets for the show did not take place at the box office of the venue, but inside the facility. 17,000 tickets were sold per performance for a total of 51,000 tickets. The prices start at $15 and went up to $150. Reporting from San Juan, Puerto Rico, Frances Felix.